Hello, Reds. Thank you very much for tuning in, you absolute bloody legends. If you are new around here, want to keep up to date on all things Liverpool, or if there's any Fulham fans anyway watching, best of luck for the weekend. I'm excited. The football is back, not just for Liverpool, but for the whole country anyway. We've been biting at the bit in reality of seeing just our football teams every single weekend. But I'm joined by a very special guest. Well, two very special guests anyway. Obviously, Steve, the Fulham perspective.
Evening, guys.
For coming on, mate.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure, fellas. Yeah, not too bad. It's been a busy week, as we were saying at work. Busy on the football front for the season. And yeah, busy personally on the football front on Saturday as well. So it's going to be all hands to the pump.
Yeah, as I said, mate, as always, all to me guests, really do appreciate you taking the time out, mate, to come on tonight. And obviously getting the Fulham perspective. I'm intrigued to see how your lads will be playing this year, mate. And obviously Spider, my good mate, massive supporter of the channel as well. And thank you once again for coming on, mate. And as I said, gents and ladies, hope you're all having a lovely rest of your Thursday night. The Amazon documentary is out. I don't know if you've watched it, everyone. The Arsenal Circus. It'll be some good entertainment, good comedy documentary, that'll be anyway. But firstly, let's quickly get to chat anyway. Obviously, shout out to Gary. I know he has been, mate. He was on a stream loan. Dave charged £10 an hour anyway. But yeah, right. And obviously, shout out to Amens. Both Steve's socials, his Twitter link is on in the comment section below anyway, and in the description. So please do head over, support Steve on all of his content and everything. And obviously, Spider, his social links are in the description also. But firstly, we're getting to the Fulham perspective, Steve. In terms of obviously Fulham, it was a great season last year, mate, wasn't it? In terms of winning the championship. How do you feel you will approach this year in the Premier League?
Yeah, definitely going for back-to-back championships here. Without a doubt. Well, when I say championships, back for the championship, back the other way again. But I think that partly doesn't really depend on us. It depends on Norwich. If they're sort of languishing about mid-table in the championship come middle of the season, then there's every chance we're going to stay up even if we're rock bottom. But if Norwich are running away with a championship, then there's every chance we're going to go down, because I don't think we played in the same league for quite a few years now. So yeah, I mean, but in all seriousness, we're a really weird one. It's a whole term Fulhamish, and I don't know if you've ever heard that banging around on Fulham podcast, but we could finish anywhere, and I mean absolutely anywhere. Not winning the league, obviously, but we could finish just outside Europe to absolutely rock bottom. It's really going to depend on what we do in the rest of the transfer window and how quickly let's be honest, the decent signings we've got in so far will gel for Saturday and beyond. But again, it's all Fulhamish. We will finish somewhere from rock bottom to probably comfortably mid-table.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And it's been that issue, not just for you, mate, in terms of championship teams coming and making that transition. Certain teams over the last couple of years have stayed. Fulham, for a very large period, were a very successful Premier League team that was constantly sustaining their league position, really. But in terms of, from an outside point of view, someone that doesn't really watch a lot of Fulham, for what do Liverpool fans, what should they be in store for come Saturday early morning anyway, kick-off?
Well, just before you go on a side note there, if you want to see Fulham's All or Nothing programme, just switch over to AEW Wrestling that is on a few different channels. So that's our All or Nothing take. But no, generally speaking, seriously, on Saturday, I think we'll be up for it. There's no doubt about that. Whether we're going to have the quality, the concentration, the gelling of the new players. I think someone like Bernd Leno in goal, no disrespect to Rodak, because I do actually like him, but I don't think he's a Premier League, sort of starter week in, week out. I think having Leno at the back as opposed to him Saturday will be a massive coup in terms of the way he's going to marshal the defence, his experience. You've got to remember he's only sort of second choice really to Manuel Neuer in the German national team. So I think he'll be banging on the door again for the World Cup this year. I think he'll be in that squad, sort of keepers that they take with them. But again, it's the centre backs that worry me Saturday. We've got Tim Ream. I love the guy to bits, but I don't think he's, no longer Premier League quality again, week in, week out. He can do a job as a squad player, but you're asking a young lad in Tosin to play with Riemann at back for Saturday, and even our fullbacks, sort of Anthony Robinson isn't exactly the oldest head in the game, and Mbabu's or Tete, Tete's a bit of an old head, but Mbabu, if he starts, is a completely new signing as well. So the back four for me is going to be very fragile this weekend.
You're on mute, Jack.
Sorry, it's not your headset. It's me. But in terms of Steve, was it Anderson that was on loan when you were in the Premier League? Was it last time, or was he?
Yes.
Yeah,
fantastic. We need another player like that. It's unfortunately went down because I think we would have kept, likes of Areola, Anderson, and sort of maybe a couple of others. But those are the two that I was keen on keeping if we had stayed up last time. And I think he's proved at Palace, Anderson, he's not maybe quite, you wouldn't walk into a Liverpool defence or someone like that. He could do a job for someone like Liverpool City as a squad player, but certainly middle of the road table to sort of early, Europa League, something like that. He's a class defender. And same with Areola with a keeper. So I think we missed a couple of players like that. If we get someone of the quality of Anderson in sort of, well, we want him in, we need him in now really, but if we had him in sort of, by the end of August, I think we're going to be in a lot healthier state. It'd be interesting to know what you guys think as well from an outside perspective.
Yeah, Spider there. Yeah, it's as I was saying, it's difficult staying in terms of even when teams come into the Premier League. It's difficult when a lot of the clubs in the Premier League are quite established and have got quite a lot of resources. But Spider, to Stephen's comments, your thoughts on obviously the centre back areas. It's always. You need to have that strong foundation, I'd say, Stephen, don't you, in terms of for anyone really in the Premier League. But Spider, what would you say to that?
Yeah, like that is their Achilles heel really. Fulham is the defense at the moment. I do think they need to build on it. I think they need a couple of defenders in there really. Whether they do it before the end of August, we'll see. My thoughts on it is that Fulham were always kind of a semi-bogey team for us. There was always only just like a goal or two between us. If it was like the middle of the either side of Christmas, that kind of place, playing them. I'm happier I'm playing Fulham at the start of a season really than I am if it was November, December, or up to February that way, because I think they become a little bit healthier around then, and then they kind of drop off a bit, depending on what season. If it's a season they're staying up, they do well. They get results against big teams. If it's a season they go down, they capitulate. But either way, at the start of a season is when I would prefer to have them as the first couple 2 or 3 games until that window shuts and until they get a balance around the team or something. But it's just always the way with a team like that. I mean, Fulham, as we know, the guys, they are a yo-yo team, same as West Brom, same as Norwich, up, down. And for a team of the stature, you kind of think, you'd want to start seeing them making a few seasons in the Premier League. Very, very similar to how West Brom did it for a while, how Burnley did it for a while.
Roy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Steve, you probably weren't happy watching that style of football, but it done the job and it kept you in the Premier League, didn't it? Would you say? It's got
us to a European final as well.
Yeah.
And
European final as well.
And if I could, you could make an argue, sort of their Champions League outfit. You had De Gea, Aguero, Forlan playing for him, and you could argue I think we had Zamora that was half fit and had to come off, and another couple of players playing through injuries. I honestly still believe to this day, if we had those players fully fit in the final, I think we'd have scraped that win the other way around. Yeah, because it was such a tight game.
It was amazing.
So we'll never know. We'll never know.
I enjoyed watching Fulham that season. They were fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic. Was Andy Johnson playing then? Was it not that? Or was he after?
No, the following season, I think he was.
Yeah. I'll say no, but it was amazing, mate. Obviously, remember when Portsmouth went on that run? Or was it you were playing Ronaldinho? You didn't have a clue where Portsmouth was. Probably that was one of those weird things.
Still doesn't.
Kind of like Robinho going to Man City, wasn't it, that thing?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was trying to Manchester United.
Spot on there, boys. Obviously, I asked Stephen in terms of his prediction. I made a little graph. Steve was like, "No, why are you playing Carvalho?" I was like, "Oh, sorry." We're getting starting 11 from a Fulham perspective in terms of how they will set up very soon. To get to chat comments as well. I'm sorry, mate, but I don't think it's impossible for.
I agree. I agree. I agree,
Yeah.
but it is possible. It depends what we do in the window. It's very Fulham, like I said, anywhere from mid-table to rock bottom. That is probably where we're going to finish.
Yeah. Nothing but a win.
Survival.
Nothing but a win for Darren on Saturday. Hopefully, mate. As I said, it won't be a walk in the park. It never is, especially against. I remember when Leeds United a couple of seasons back, obviously rocked up at Anfield, scored about 3 goals, and it's the Premier League. That's why the Premier League is the Premier League. Unpredictable. The unpredictability of the Premier League. Big up, guys. Hope you are well, John. I was made up to see you today, mate. Absolute bloody legend. Appreciate you taking time out. Spiders all over the web tonight. Shane, he's always had the soft spot for Fulham. This from Shane. Would like to see them stay up, but on Saturday, I hope we beat them. Yeah, 100% there, Shane. And Stephen, Steve, if it's at the expense of Everton, I'll be your best mate.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, you're trying to suggest we're not best mates already after the last sort of couple of hours. What's going on?
No, we will be best mates. But thank you again, everyone. But right, we'll get straight into the lineup anyway in terms of team selection, in terms of how we anticipate Fulham to be lining up. There we go, mate. But is this your... Well, probably with a potential couple of changes, mate. But just talk us through this team selection, mate, or any potential changes.
Right. Well, the formation's completely wrong. What we're going to be having is Mitrovic up top, maybe a player joining in the attack, but the rest of them in front of the back four, and the keeper. So that's how we're going to line up for the game. Ultra defensive, ultra defending in sort of FIFA terms. But no, that's similar. I mean, obviously. There is a lot of talk. We were just chatting off air. Wilson is apparently injured and is out for a couple of months. Obviously, if that is rubber stamped in the the press interview prior to the game, then he's out. Solomon, there's a lot of chat. Is he or isn't he available? Now, I think there have been some pictures of him training with the squad. I could be wrong. So my question would be, why would you be training with the squad if you're not available? But again, that might have been another player I'm seeing. But obviously, if he isn't available, that's in effect two starters gone straight away. Yeah. So we'd be looking at probably playing Cabano and Bobby Decker over Reed, as you can see on there. Although I'm not sure who the is Cabano on the top left. Yeah, he looks a little bit taller than normal. You stretched him out.
Is he like a pacey wide man? Someone
he's fairly quick and tricky. Yeah, he can cause you a lot of problems. If you take him for, I think if Liverpool play to their max, then he won't be too, he's not a world-class player. He won't cause you too many problems. But if you take him for granted and you give him a bit of space in behind, like, Arnold might do, he could find himself in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, again, Arnold's probably got the pace on him. Well, he has got the pace on him. But again, he can't afford to give him a couple of yards in front of him because he could do a little bit of damage. But I'll be honest, I like Cabano, but I think Liverpool can handle him, pretty decently. Yeah,
the main holding midfielder, mate, is he going to be integral for Fulham this season? Obviously, he's come with a glowing rapport from Portuguese football. But has he played a couple of games in pre-season? Have you been impressed with him, or?
Yeah, I think he's looked a little rusty in the sense of not necessarily footballing ability, more sense of trying to gel with the team, grow into the team, know a bit more about the team's style and stuff like that. But I mean, the quality's there. You can see it straight away. Without being disrespectful to some of the other guys in there, he's a massive upgrade. He's almost like the Fulham had Kevin McDonald, that was that sort of player. Quality for the Championship, didn't quite make the Premier League. This almost feels like that replacement. He's the quality that's needed in that position. Again, slightly different players as well, but some similarities also.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Predominantly, I think I've seen a couple of stats really off the back of last season's great year in terms of the scoring goals. Who do you feel will replace potentially going forward in this campaign, mate, in terms of filling the boots of Carvalho? Obviously, Carvalho was quite a he's listened to you on a lot of shows, mate. He come with a glowing rapport in terms of before he comes to Liverpool. Very highly regarded in the Fulham Academy as well. But anyone potentially that you foresee trying to or at least trying to step into those shoes and really drive this Fulham team going forward?
Andreas Pereira, 100%. He's that player you get frustrated about. You know, when you see even got your average player on a Sunday morning that's got the potential to be absolutely class and go on to bigger things. But more often than not, he flatters to deceive. I might actually be describing myself here, but that might be a bit generous as well. But no, he's literally got the talent. He has the talent. There's a reason he's been at Manchester United for a number of years, and they haven't until now sold him. There's a reason you see him popping up with, you know, moments of inspiration, quality goals like at Flamengo last year, one in particular. So there's a player in there. It's whether he can come out of that shell.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And the legend that is Spider Mitrovic, he fails to deliver. Well, he turned into Pele last season in the Championship.
Yeah.
The man was possessed. He was banging goals left, right, and centre. Yeah. How do you see him complementing this Fulham side? Obviously, if you get him delivery, well, as I said, Carvalho's left the club, but it will be a massive point of if they can stay in the Premier League, Fulham, it will be down to not just Mitrovic, but he'll be probably one of the sole reasons if they do.
Yeah, you know, Mitrovic is a bit of an anomaly, but he's you know, you've seen him at Newcastle, and he was a good target man there for them. I find that because Fulham's biggest issue is how much they're going to have to defend this coming season, and he's not going to get the help that he normally had with Carvalho or you know, Harry Wilson playing the balls through them up front. You know, it's especially, you know, with Wilson's injury, so he's going to just be a target man again, and that's where his goals dip. And people are saying, "Oh no, he can't do it in the Premier League or whatever like that." But it's not his fault, really. You know, he's getting into position, he's making the right moves. The problem is the service, and Fulham don't keep the ball long enough in the Premier League as through past seasons without having to defend a lot. You know, so how are they going to get the ball to him? How are they going to interchange it? How is he going to make those runs? He makes, you know, when he does make the runs, you could see even against us, he can score a goal, but it's just a matter of giving him the service. But he's coming up against world-class defenders, the best of the best, and you have midfielders that can't be creative enough. They're more concentrated on defending than they are creativity. So if they can find a good balance between that, Fulham, I think this season, then they might be able to give more service to Mitrovic. The problem is, it's just, you know, they have to make an effort and go for it. If they become too defensive, it's just going to be a matter of maybe losing 1 or 2-0, and then the heads drop and they could lose 3 or 4-0 in games. And after that, they need to start battling teams from the get-go. Hopefully not against us on Saturday, but they need to. Which we can't blame them for that, because they are limited in defense. You know, and if Reem does that, like, he's 34 or something like that, isn't he? Will he
33,
start?
I think he's 33.
Yeah. So, you know, he's you know, they do need to shore up that defense. Once they do, I think they can make a good balance within the squad, and, you know, they can get they could become similar to a Burnley. You know, just get a lot of draws in the league, and maybe nick 1 or 2 games against teams that you would expect them to maybe lose to, which is like a Brighton or something like that, in those battles in that area. But you know, it's just, it all comes down to what Marco Silva can do, and if he does play attacking football, if he's risky. If he's too defensive, I just can't see any other outcome than you know, barely just staying around or hovering around that 16 to 18 spot, really. So 100%. Yeah, you know, so that's what I'm thinking. It's just they have to supply Mitrovic, and they have to do it you know, with a good balance. Otherwise, you know, they have to risk it and play it, really, you know. So
yeah, 100%, mate. Steve, how do you think he'll fare this time in the Premier League?
I think if they're, I mean, before I go on to that, I think let's change around a little bit. If you put Mitrovic in a top 4 side, how many does he score?
Probably about 10, 15 goals, yeah, easy.
Yeah, at least. Because he knows where the net is, and they'll create the chances. Confidence is flowing. Again, yeah, I mean, everyone overlook, you know, when we look at that, you guys are looking at it here as well and thinking, oh yeah, you know, it makes sense. But a lot of people overlook the fact that the first year we went down recently, we're absolutely dire. Don't make no bones about that. We're absolutely dire. And he's the second quickest player to double figures.
Yeah.
Then the second year we go down under Parker. Parker doesn't want to play him. He prefers wingers to him. He's unfit, probably by his own admission, overweight, lacking confidence, no supply. and most of his appearances are coming off the bench as cameos. What striker in any level of football is going to score goals when he's lacking confidence?
It kind of reminded me of Tarapt in that season a little bit. Adel Tarapt. He reminded me of that kind of way. Like he was just not getting the confidence from his manager enough, or or just a victim of his own flaws, really. But I think you put Mitrovic in any team that can supply him, and he can score. He's a finisher. He can score goals.
Yeah, exactly.
He picks up good positions. He doesn't run all day for you, but he will get into position when he's needed. So
exactly.
He needs to supply. Yeah.
Your strengths, Steve, in terms of the final point, in terms of team selection, where are your strengths within the team? What was probably one of the best attributes of your squad last year? The sheer amount of goals, but in terms of your pattern, your plays, are you quite good on set pieces, or is it more or less counter-attacking, or how do Fulham tend to set up in terms of going into the season?
I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to. We'll try and have a lot of the ball, but we need to make sure it's meaningful. But if we don't have a lot of the ball, obviously, counter attacks are going to be key. Definitely key to how we do this year. You mentioned something else that triggered me, but I completely forgot what else you sort of said as well.
Patterns of play, really, in terms of
set pieces. That was it. So set pieces. I mean, if you saw some of our set pieces last year, I mean, they were teams were getting caught out with it. Sometimes the finishing can be better. We're not going to get away with the early season blocking off that we done sort of, basketball wise or something like that. We're going to get called up on VAR for stuff like that. But again, we've got a good mix of set pieces, and I think it would be fairly deadly, if we can convert a few more of those this season. So I think you're going to have to be on your game for set piece at the weekend, because we've already seen Mitrovic, scoring some in pre-season. Although it'd be a couple of easy, teams not really at the standard Liverpool would defend, but you give them half a yard, and getting first that ball, and you're in trouble.
Yeah, 100%. They are a big aspect, whether you're playing in conference football or whatnot. Such a massive asset to any football club in reality. But that was just a bit of the team news anyway. Just a quick touch on Liverpool. From Liverpool's perspective, really, in terms of injury news, Canate set to miss the start of the 2020-23 season after sustaining an injury during this Sunday's pre-season encounter versus RB Strasbourg, as well as he was quoted on his social media account. Unfortunately, I have to spend some time off the pitch, but it won't be too long. In the meantime, I'll be doing my best to come back even stronger and supporting the boys as well. Steve, is there any injury concerns for Fulham going to this, not just this weekend, but this potential new season?
Yeah, definitely. On the part that you just brought up, any Fulham fans know what about Terence Congolo? He might be fit for the 23-24 season. He's just going to miss the start of this one and next one as well. He usually manages a couple of games a season, both getting injured after each one.
Is he the Dutch left back, is it? Or
is he Terence Congolo? Came from, I think it was Huddersfield
Huddersfield.
And seriously, the guy's got talent to even play in the Premier League, but he just plays one game. I think he played like 2 or 3 games last year, and he was injured after every single game. He's just not, he's just unfortunate with injuries. But the key ones for us this week, we touched on Wilson, is out injured by the sounds of it. That is going to be a big miss, because I was interested to see how he would get on, playing against you guys. Obviously, I know sort of your fullbacks like to get up, sort of push forward quite a bit. But obviously, Wilson likes to get in behind as well, and he's not the slowest person either. So I would have been interested to see him sort of matching up with your fullbacks, switching it over. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen probably till the next time we play.
What way was he for you guys in the Championship? Did he have many injuries? Because I remember him in most of the youth side with Liverpool having quite a few injuries. Keep holding them back a bit. But did he play a lot of games?
He played a hell of a lot of games, and I don't, some Fulham fans will tell me different. I don't remember him having any long-term absence, maybe a game here or there. But he played a hell of a lot last season, which in some ways surprised me, because I was thinking the same, he'd be a bit injury prone. But then sort of straight away, behind closed doors against Villa, he's gone and got himself injured.
Okay. Well, maybe he's grown into the injury. Some injuries that you get as youth, you kind of grow into them, and you get stronger ligaments, tendons, and stuff like that. Those injuries don't tend to pop up anymore. But hopefully, because I like to see Harry Wilson doing well. So
don't get us started on Ox, Steve. You probably don't get that man. He's
a legend for TikTok dancing.
Yeah, I swear Ox is at the football club just for his TikToks and his discounts on Little Mix concerts as well. So
team morale, that is. That's getting you the league this year.
But yeah. But in terms of Steve, in terms of players to watch, really, who would you select if you could pick like 3 players for Liverpool to watch out for, and Liverpool fans really to look forward to in terms of match of the day this season or any potential games that are Fulham on telly?
So for us, I mean, I'm going to put the killer curse on it now. Bernd Leno in goal could be a bit of thorn in your side at the weekend. That's what I'm hoping. I've done it now. He's going to drop like 2 or 3 clangers in his first game. It's going to be 3-1 or something to Liverpool. But no, I think Leno, generally speaking, 3 million for Bernd Leno straight out. Well, we've absolutely pulled the pants down. And as much as some of us fans like myself are moaning at the lack of signings and the pace of it, I mean, to negotiate 3 million straight off the bat for him, I mean, that is that's some daylight robbery. That is. So,
yeah, that's the signing of the whole transfer window for me, bargain wise.
Yeah,
pretty much just nuts. Yeah,
it's probably Palhinha. A lot has been made about him possibly going to Wolves. The talent he's got, definitely like the look of him. So I'm going to go Palhinha. And yeah, I'm tempted to go the obvious Mitro, but I'm actually going to go with Solomon. Obviously, when he does finally play and get released to play, if it's not this weekend, I mean the guy's sort of about 2'2" apparently, a very small chap. No, he's a little bit bigger, but apparently his sort of centre of gravity, makes him so that he's just skillful. Beats players with ease. Not obviously the strongest, but if you've got a bit of pace and trickery, you don't need to be that. You're going to win free kicks all over the shop, or you're going to get past your man. So Solomon, Palhinha, and Leno for me.
And what's the issue with Solomon and Shakhtar? Is it
this crazy rule? So we were going to pay 7 million to sign him permanently. Then this FIFA rule apparently came in that they can suspend their contract for a year. He's out of contract anyway next year. Then we put an announcement eventually that we'd signed him, but we can't register him to the start of August. Now they're saying Shakhtar haven't released the registration yet. I don't get it. He's either signed for you or he hasn't. The deal's completed or it's not under the guidelines. So honestly, football world nowadays, they just make it too complicated. It's a yes or a no. It's not a maybe. It's done or it's not. But apparently, it's loads of red tape going around.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you can get him in, mate. Anyway, obviously, a massive part to play this season if you can get him sorted. In terms of, obviously, that we just had a little talk in there with Steve in terms of the ones to watch. Aspirations, Steve, in terms of the Premier League and targets going into this year. Of course, it is to stay up, but in terms of how do you feel from a fuller point of view? You're going to adapt, as I said, kind of a bit of a similar question to before, but how do you feel you'll fare in this season?
I'd like to say it's going to be a hard start, especially without all the signings in yet. Going to have to gel straight away. I think the stats say we're on the back foot to actually stay up as it is. Without being rude to anyone, I think I could comfortably say that I think we've got a better squad, maybe not a better team. We'll find out. Better squad than Bournemouth. So straight away, I see Bournemouth below us. Tongue in cheek, I say Everton, just for you guys. But no, I mean Lampard could be the first person to go. But no, so I comfortably say we're above Bournemouth. Leicester, I mean, they could be dragged into it. A lot of people saying they've lost some of their key players now. I don't think they'll be in the mix, but again, it could be a shock one for you. They could be in around the bottom 4 or 5 for a bit of the season.
There's some absolute dross last year, mate. Like some of the football, I think even Leeds for me, they're nailed down, going down. Yeah. They can't even keep a clean sheet at all.
Forest again, there's the jury's out on there. Have they done what we call a Fulham from several years ago, where they spend X amount, but they're on with a great respect, talentless nobodies, or not talentless, but you know what I mean, sort of unheard of, and it doesn't come off. So if that's the case, I mean, already we could be looking at Bournemouth, Leeds, Forest, so that will put us in 17th straight away. So we're already up, we're safe. So we could stay up with this squad, but I think the centre back is definitely a must, and keep him fit and healthy as well.
I think Southampton are in danger this season as well. To be honest with
forgot about them. To be fair,
yeah, I think Southampton are in big trouble this season.
Yeah,
they haven't done much, and Leicester, even regardless like the first manager to go, I think it's between either Frank Lampard or Brendan Rodgers. I don't think he's done enough in the transfer window to keep him in that. I don't know what's going on at Leicester to say that there's no signings being made, but yeah, I mean they're in danger of just putting themselves into that bracket where they shouldn't even be. I mean, we should be talking about definitely Fulham going down, definitely Bournemouth going back down or whatever. From Premier League's point of view, but now you're dragging Southampton, you're dragging Leicester, and you're dragging Leeds and Everton into that fray as well. So there's an opportunity for Forest and Fulham to kind of jump out of that kind of area, So it's going to be intriguing anyway. Either way, for the battle for the bottom this season. Yeah.
Home form's key in a state, Steve. In terms of how was it was quite good last year, one in Championship, but how
I think we done. I haven't got the exact stats. I tend to think we've done a little bit better away from home without the pressure on us at home so much. I think we sort of. I think some of the friends sort of banned me from going to the cottage. So Emilio, if you're listening, he's a guy that does one of the other podcasts, Cottage Talk, with a guy that hosts it, Russ. He's actually banned me because I think I went to a home game, we lost, and then I rocked up to Derby away. And we lost up there as well. So that was 2 in a row, and everyone was like, right, you're not coming to another game this season. So I went to Luton at home on the last day because I think we pretty much knew we would, without being rude, that we would at least get the win. I didn't expect to see 7, but brilliant day all round, great day to be at the cottage. And I made myself available because, without being rude, I'm quite a busy chap sort of on the football side. So it is to get time to go to Fulham nowadays is an absolute blessing.
Yeah, and I think it was on Doug's show, or it might have been Steve's show, in terms of we could be here for a whole hour in terms of talking about ticket prices, but it is down south in terms of the pricing, of course. But I think, have you just got one of the most expensive season tickets this season?
I think we have got the most expensive season ticket. We've even eclipsed Arsenal, who are notoriously, I think, the most expensive. I think the New Riverside stand at the bottom is £1,000 for a season ticket.
Wow.
Literally. I mean, it's like we're looking at it like, okay, we do want success. Obviously, we want to be sustainable in the long run. But £1,000, we're not Manchester City. Do you know what I mean? We're not Liverpool. We're Fulham. You're paying £1,000 to watch a team sort of probably battle and potentially get relegated, and you want to charge £1,000 for a season ticket. It's like it's ridiculous.
It's mad, that, mate, isn't it? And I suppose the owners would have a leg to stand on if you were reinvesting that into the club. Would you say, Steve? In terms of obviously putting more money, especially the fans. It's mad, but yeah. But I think. Go ahead,
yeah, the owners. I think obviously they want us to be sustainable long term. But I think I get the impression if they had their way, they could build Rome tomorrow. They're very rich. They're billionaires. They could go out and spend what they wanted to. Not quite on a par with City or Liverpool, but if they wanted to bring in a big player, 30, 40, 50, they'd do it. Do you know what I mean? If they want to build a whole new ground, they'd do it. But there are FFP constraints. I'm going to say for some. Not everyone, because I don't know how some of them are doing it. Signing one player for about 200-300 million with the wages in, but yeah, that's just a different thing. But our owners could, if they had the leash and no FFP, our owners would spend whatever they like just to make sure we stayed up, we're competitive. That being said, I don't actually trust us to actually spend it in the right amount. With the greatest respect, we'll probably pay sort of a player that's worth 20 million. We'll probably go and buy him for 200 million. Do you know what I mean? And sort of get our pants pulled down, a bit like Leno. So yeah, I wouldn't trust them signing the right players.
Yeah, well, spot on, mate. Paul is gone with Fulham to be 15th. I done on my prediction this season. It was last week. It was heavily dependent on Mitrovic for me. Goals are so important for whether that be a top 4 team or top 10 team. I think if Fulham can get the best out of Mitrovic, or as it's cohesive unit in terms of the team going forward, I think it's so integral that, and I think as we've already discussed there, Paul, the panel just then, there's so many worse teams down there in the bottom, and I think just waiting to Steve, when you play Everton, you'll probably message me and go, I didn't know they were that bad.
But they are bad. They're that good.
No, they are shocking. A lot of my mates are like, oh, they're looking through the fingers anyway in terms of watching that.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Jack, there, man, with the fact that you're just talking about Mitrovic. Because when you look around at Fulham, they actually have a striker that can score goals if he's given the service. But
Ivan Toney last year as well for Brentford when he came into
kept them up. He kept them up, So that's what I'm saying. It shows how important it is down there to have a good striker. But when you look around at Everton, they don't have a striker that stays fit. They haven't. They brought in Dele Alli, who's done nothing for them really. They've lost Richarlison. Was he the top goal scorer last season? I don't know, but you have like the other teams that are roaming around there. What way is I'm not too familiar with Nottingham Forest's.
You got that new lads, that young academy fellow that used to play. Adewonmi or something. The fellow from Hertha Berlin. Yeah. In that pronunciation.
So it's all right. So, but you're looking at the teams that are around that have an out-and-out striker, and Fulham probably have the best of a small bunch of them. And Leeds, even speaking of that, well, Bamford is injured most of the bloody season. Gelhardt is only a young fella. Is he going to start scoring goals around him? So, like, if Mitrovic can be given the service, man, Fulham will survive.
That's 100%.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if he is.
Yeah, spot on there, boys. Big up George as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, mate. Appreciate you taking the time out to tune in. Every single one of you as well. So hyped for the weekend. Yeah, George. It's been a bit of a mad 2 years for everyone in it with the lockdown and everything. But football, it means so much to everyone, especially in the UK and around the world as well. We can look forward to something at the weekends. Everyone finishes work and then relaxing and just put your feet up or go in the game or whatnot and relax. It's
my birthday.
Oh, is it your birthday now?
It's my birthday on Saturday. No, on Saturday.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think you'll remember much, will you, Spider?
Yeah. Happy 50th. Happy 50th,
Spider. 41. I'm not fair off. But,
you're not that much older than me. No.
Yeah. 41, yeah.
Oh, not too bad. Well, happy birthday for the weekend, mate. A real lovely time. Anyway,
I'll come on here with a bottle of whiskey and I'll
have to be careful. But Alan saying, good stuff, lads. Nice to hear from the Fulham guy as well, Alan. This is Steve. First time on the channel, and hopefully first in many anyway. Fulham do stay in the Premier League. But I know I've got a good mate of mine, Dan. We used to have a back and forth in terms of how Burnley did play. But he's a top lad anyway. It's the beauty of doing YouTube. Meet some a load of amazing people as well. Just talking football, talking the passion in which we love, and that's our clubs as well. But spot on there, Alan. Thank you for tuning in, mate. Big up Daz as well. Hope you're having a good night, mate. Big up John Moore. Congratulations as well. And Paul's gone with the Fulham owner is a multi-billionaire. Yes, Steve was saying that then by making bumpers from the lorries, I think. Steve, is that correct, or is it?
Yeah, it's car parts. I wonder if he can make one for Saturday. Whether we can get the boys on it for Saturday, and we can stick that in with Leno.
And even that, if you look at the fact that, like, if you take into account, I know you've got a striker there and the whole lot, but if you take into account, you're kind of very similar to Stoke and what Burnley were like when they first came into the Premier League. You know, they were kind of rugged, they would stick in there with a couple of shoulders. I know VAR doesn't let you get away with much, but I mean, if they can do it the right way, they can really cause hassle to a lot of teams in a physical way. You know, but that's the only you're going to have to do it, I think, to be honest with you, to keep that defense, locked down and for people to stop running at you a bit. But look, I'd like to see Fulham staying up, but we'll see.
I think Saturday will depend a lot, some part on how we approach and how Mitrovic approaches it. Because if Mitrovic wants to fall down at absolutely every challenge by sort of Van Dijk or Matip, then he will. If he absolutely, when I say bully them, not in terms of necessarily play wise, but if he wants to bully them physically, he can bully them physically. It literally depends on what Mitrovic wants to turn up. So he can go toe to toe with him. It's just whether he wants to do that or whether he wants to try and start buying free kicks and, you know, sort of throwing himself everywhere. That's no disrespect to him because it's frustration. But again, a bit will depend on how he approaches it as well.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Oh, and Daz going, Tony Khan, obviously. Yeah. Have you still got that Michael Jackson statue outside the stadium? Or does that get taken down?
It's in a museum. It's in a museum. Although I'm not sure whether they brought it back and stuck it somewhere in the new Riverside. Someone will be screaming at me, telling me off air what it is right now. But I know he went to a museum, but then we seemed to have a curse since he got removed. So I reckon they need to stick it in the bowels of Craven Cottage somewhere, and just or bring him up in the centre circle. You know, like they do with the sprinklers before the game. Just sort of, just you know, NFL before the game, up like that, back down, just for a bit of good luck, and then off you go.
Continue with that statue in the box as well. After a couple of corners. With Steve, the final point I wanted to ask you, mate, and obviously you'll be best advised in terms of, you probably know the question I'm going to ask you anyway. Carvalho, right? Well, you've done absolutely fantastic. Your lot, and I've heard saying a couple of my Fulham mates as well. Has he got a bigger rapport than Harvey before the day? Bigger rapport than Harvey Elliott in certain accounts, a more brighter future?
I think Harvey Elliott's already said that. I can't remember the exact words he used in an interview when, just as he was signing. I think he pretty much alluded to the fact that Carvalho is better than he was. Maybe even now, but certainly at the stage that he moved. And I kept, you've probably seen sort of some of my social media, some of the previous interviews. I've said, don't worry about Carvalho for next season or the season beyond. Within a few games, he will be in your first team. I'll be obviously if he carries on how he's doing, I'll be very surprised if he's not one of not the first names on your sheet, but he won't be left off your sheet. He'll be in your squad, your match day squad every single week, providing he's fit. And he'll be in your first team sooner rather than later. Give it sort of 5 to 10 games, and you'll see him in there, I think, regularly.
Yeah. What would you say? Obviously, his number 10 position is probably his more favoured, would you say? But what other positions potentially could he play? I think Jürgen in pre-season potentially used him on the left as well.
You can use. He's not. He might argue, and people might argue to say different. I think he's not as useful as he is, out wide as he is in a cam sort of role. I saw some Liverpool fans saying they're a bit worried that you haven't yet got another centre midfielder in. The guy could potentially fill in there for a couple of games, sort of, because you've probably seen he can track back. If he loses the ball, he will track back. His youthfulness, he will track back. He will win the ball back and then get you going again. So he's not lazy. He's not one of these that, I've lost the ball now, somebody else can do it for me. A bit like myself when I was playing. Someone else will do it for me. I've lost it yet again. But yeah, he will track back, win it for you. He can play centre mid for you. Like I say, not every single game, but if you need him to fill in, not against the big sides, but mid-table sides or a side against us, you could play him in centre midfield until you sign an adequate replacement in that position.
Yeah, is he more better off coming off the left, or is he quite good on his left foot? Would you say potentially?
Probably. Well, I think he's right-footed, so predominantly right-footed. So it'd be better cutting in from the left, and then obviously curling it in with his right. He is quite handy doing that, getting snapshots off, creating a bit of space. You probably see him sort of dribbling along, a bit like Harry Wilson does, along the edge of the box before getting himself that shooting opportunity. So anywhere around that, drifting inside. If you're going to play him sort of wide, trying to get down the line, cross the ball in the box, he's wasted, absolutely wasted. It'll be talentless for you. Not talentless, but you know what I mean? It absolutely wasted his talents out there. So you'll need him cutting in, almost like an old auxiliary winger as a third striker playing just off. But yeah, certainly just in behind the front one or two if you're playing two. Yeah, anywhere in there, anywhere in that hole, perfect.
Not too bad, mate. Well, we've done a great episode, 45 minutes in anyway. Get to all the last comments if you have missed any. But yeah, obviously just saying the lads big up as well. But Steve, thank you very much, mate. I really do appreciate you taking the time out this evening. We'll just shout out your socials, please, mate, and where if people want to drop a follow as well, mate.
Yeah, so my main social I use is Twitter, where I usually spout a lot of waffle like the rest of us. Absolute clueless waffle about football, about general day stuff, Russia, Ukraine, we're all horrible about what that's going on, but you'll see me spout a load of rubbish about that as well. But you can follow me at Lids84, Lids with a double D, without being rude. Sorry, ladies, men like double Ds. So yeah, that's how I always tell people, Lids with a double D.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you taking the time out this evening. And Spider, just shout out your socials, mate, and where everyone can find you on what have you got coming up this week?
What have we got coming up this week? Well, you mostly know me for me game and stuff. So I'll be over on Twitch after this, doing a bit of PUBG with Jack, if Jack will join me as well. So I'll be doing a bit of that. No, we've got I won't be doing the watch along this week like I normally do every week because it's my birthday. I'm going out, I'm getting drunk. Sorry. And yeah, but I'll be on during the week. Myself and Kev will be starting next week with the Kitmen back up as it's the start of the season and that runs throughout the season. So yeah, you'll see us there. But anyway, it's Spider LFC in most places, and it's Irish Spider Guy on Twitch. Hey.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. And the gents' social links are in the description, so please do head over, drop a follow as well. Gents, thank you very much once again, and most importantly, everyone for tuning in. Hope you had a lovely evening, and Rob's just tuned in now. Rob, where have you been, lad? Missed the first 40 minutes. Yeah, of course. You don't have to rewind that. Rewind it, mate. But thank you for dropping in, mate. I know a lot of you can't obviously always jump in the lives, but as always, every single one is, and my guests as well, for everyone that takes the time out and supporting the channel as well. But Steve, all the best to your lads this weekend and obviously for this upcoming season, mate. And thank you very much for coming on, boys. And we'll see you. Oh, just quickly get to Gary's comments. Carvalho, he'll be eased in. He'll be the left of the three. Fabinho will not be moved from the central mid. So the A4 to 10 you will have to bide his time. One thinks as well.
He won't need to.
Yeah,
he won't be biding his time.
Potential replacement for Hendo, maybe.
Long term potentially, yeah. As Steve's already alluded to, got a lot of great attributes anyway, but won't keep us any longer, boys. Mister, do you think Nunes will score on Saturday, Jack? Hopefully, Steve won't be open that, but I think potentially coming off the bench, mate. If you didn't see our predicted lineup yesterday, me and Spider done our show yesterday, so do head over there. And everyone, right, enough of me waffling. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me tonight as well. As always, Reds.
Cheers, guys.
Have a lovely rest of your night.